Hello. So I wanted to do another video. The last one I did was just a little bit of an update, and so I wanted to take a moment to actually do a reading. 'Cause I was going to be doing readings daily, but then I just realized that I didn't want to do it daily. I'd much rather do the astrology stuff daily. So I am going to just do a general reading for this couple of days because there's just a lot going on astrology-wise. So, I mean, I can go on for days talking about the astrology. So what I think I'm going to do is pull some cards and relate to the astrology that we're going through. And you'll notice that I do reversals with these cards. So the only, whoops, not that kind of reversal. And hopefully baby doesn't wake up. If she does, I'll just cut it sweet and short. But I don't think she will. She'll have more time. So I'll pull some astrology. I'll also pull some a Sacred Rebel Oracle. I love these things. Love them. Love them. Love them. And also Divine Feminine cards. I really want to get some Divine Masculine cards as well. Alright. And of course I've got my tarot. If I decide to get each, so that I will focus them. Okay. So let's see where we should focus on. So, Taurus, I have. I swear that card comes out every single time that I do this deck. But, you know, there's some pretty important stuff going on in Taurus right now. Saturn return upside down, or reversed. And Chiron, healing. I'll pull one more. See if we can't get a planet. Maybe not. Okay. That's fine. I'll take that. So we have Chiron, Taurus, and Saturn return reversed. As far as a Divine Feminine card, I'm going to pull two out together. Okay, so we have Dakini, the Enlightened Feminine. My gut instinct is wise beyond reason. I trust my intuition to guide me. It's definitely about intuition. Fatima, the mother of imams. Love is my lineage, and gratitude is my religion. Ooh. So immediately, I feel like this has to do with this. And the Enlightened Feminine. My gut instinct is wise beyond reason. Might have more to do with Chiron than anything. So, Chiron is an asteroid. And probably one of the most relevant studied, and it's mostly has to do with healing, and it's also kind of it's kind of the middleman between the inner and the outer planets, because the asteroids are found in different locations of the asteroid belt that is actually in between Mars and Jupiter. And Jupiter is pretty freaking far away. I mean, it is considered an inner planet, but it's still, I mean, Mars, Venus, Mercury are still a lot closer to us. So immediately, you know, Chiron is about healing. It's about healing the inner and the outer. So that inner expression as well as our outer expression can sometimes be different and confused. And so I think the advice here from this feminine is, you know, to trust your instincts about what you are doing, what you got to consider. And on Monday, actually, it's in a couple of days that I go into more detail on Chiron. Right now, Chiron is in Aries. And to this moment that I'm doing this reading right now, it is just barely in the 12th house of mystery and the unknown. And that just has to do with the time of day. But Chiron in retrograde in Aries. So new, fresh beginnings. And considering this is the Saturn return is upside down or reversed, it's really not about the past anymore right now. The healing that we need to do as a collective isn't really clearing the past. We've done a lot of clearing of the past. I know a lot of people who have really done some work about understanding themselves and their past. So it's probably not about that this week. It probably has a lot to do with healing the current times and understanding how to bring what you learned from the past into the present so that you can get to the future that you really want instead of the future that you're afraid of happening. And so, this being love is my lineage and gratitude is my religion. So, whatever family history that you might have, especially if it's from like bloodline history, like you found out that you have some things in common, like I have with some of your grandparents or your great-great-grandparents or your great-great, that stuff all matters very much to who you are, and it influences who we are physically, but it's not it's not the full package. The story of his family history is really one of love, devotion, change, work, sacrifice. All of us have people in our family that have done some pretty incredible things that carry through as stories to now, and those stories matter a lot, and we shouldn't forget them. That's, our families created this world. And that can be a really frustrating thing too, right? Like, this isn't like the coolest place to be living right now. The planet needs some help, right? We've been so obsessed with what we have and what we own. And right now, we have the only thing in Taurus is the Vesta point. And Vesta is about dedication, and can also be looked at as the High Priestess energy. So feminine High Priestess energy is Vesta. And so this High Priestess is like, what do you have? What do you want to have? What are you harvesting? I talk about this in a post and I think tomorrow. It's like, what are you harvesting? What do you have to show for your work this year? Do you have it or do you not? How can you do better next year? And I think, collectively, we're just kind of all revamping. We're getting ready for winter, kind of closing up shop and seeing, what we have and what we don't. I know I am really financially struggling, and I have my whole life. I'm really ready to stop struggling and not be, so stuck anymore, and just really get the numbers figured out. But this is also a struggle for me because it's like a reality struggle. So immediately you get kind of a Pandora's box, and this card's really special to me, but Pandora's box can be, about what you're hiding, what you've kept away, what you've kept secret. But a lot of times, our secrets and what we keep from other people is really important. It means a lot to you. Enough to hide away and not share and be greedy about. And that's the thing with information and love and how you really feel, especially if it's positive that you're just locking up. Afraid of like how people will think or how they'll react to your feelings towards it. And what I've really learned is that a lot of what I kept hidden away didn't really need to be hid away, and my life would be very different if I was just more loving with the people that I loved and cared about. And I probably wouldn't have had to lose a lot of what I lost. It's okay that I lost it. I needed to learn my lesson, but I probably could have learned it earlier if I would have just gotten out of the box. And so, when it comes to talking about your past and stuff, you got to realize that it is your past. Like, it's not happening right now. It happened then. And if it's still something that's affecting you now, it's about time that you get it out so it stops affecting you. And it doesn't really matter how you get it out. You can get it out by yourself, or you can call up your best friend and say, hey, I have something I really need to talk about, just to get it out. And just getting it out is actually getting it out. Having that emotional reaction to what happened to you is important. It's important for processing it. If you don't let it out, then it just stays sitting there. Like, you've got to tell someone about how you feel about it to heal from it. Even if it's just telling yourself out loud, you have to get it out. And you have to let it out of the box. And once you do, what's left in the box usually is really precious. It's a prize. It's treasure, not skeletons. Clear out the skeletons. And what can help with this really is conscious connections. You have people in your life that were put there for a reason. Your friends have different roles and things that they're good at, just like you have different things that you're good at. And so you can use those conscious connections that you have, because that's what they're meant for. That's what they're there for. If you don't know, what this friend is for, then they're not the friend to go to. But if you know that you have friends that you can call, and you know that one friend will be better than the other, then why not call the one that can really give you a good hand? Don't be afraid to reach out for help is really the big thing here. And the other part of this is maybe a realization that maybe there are people in your life right now that you're not giving enough credit, or you're not giving enough of a chance to be a conscious connection. If you have stuff blocking your heart center, and you're not, doing any of this healing that can be going on, then you might be blocked from these conscious connections and be subconscious to them right now, when they really shouldn't be. You should be conscious of them. So it might be a message for some, but not others. But the last card we have as the ultimate solution is inspiration. A lot of stuff that happens to us just happens for inspiration for later. Some of the, not as traumatic, crazy stuff, the stuff that's like, oh, wow, that was weird. Oh, shit, I wonder why that happened, when, in that way. I get, it's cool that it happened, but why did it have to happen like that? Sometimes those things are meant to stick out then, so that when they stick out later, it's like, oh, that's what that was about. And sometimes things happen in our life just to simply inspire us. I'm finding that there's a couple of particular friends or family members that I tend to think about when I'm doing one thing over the other. And that's a kind of, it's almost like motivating. It's like their higher self is there to you can do it. And just that activity, particularly ones that I find troublesome, or when I'm stumped or something and I'm trying to just do it anyways and push through the day and just get through it, and I think of someone that's in relation to that, and it's almost like I'm inspired by that presence. If they can do it, I can do it type of feel. So sometimes people, situations, things that happen, synchronicities are really just to simply wake us back up and inspire us to keep going and have that motivation, even if it's just that little tiny push, little tiny thing. I have a pretty good habit of sending my friends, if I'm listening to music and a certain song catches me, and I think of that, I think of someone out of nowhere. I'm just like, whoa. I think about them for a minute, and I get it all even emotional. I kind of realize that song is kind of for them. So I go ahead and send them the song. And it's I don't know if it helps, but I also have had friends do the same for me. And it's just wow, I really needed to hear that. I didn't even know what to say. I don't know how you knew, but thank you. And at first it was it really caught me off guard. And another one of my Aquarius friends used to do it all the time. And I was like, she's so weird. She sends me stuff daily. So I don't know. I've just kind of picked that up as, if I think of someone, or if I hear a song about someone particular and it's not for me, it's for them, then I send it to them. So, just a little bit of a collective mental message. So we got popped out 3 of Cups, which is all about community, friendship. So the mental space might need some help outside of just yourself. Some of us might be feeling a little bit more social, a little bit more open to communicating about what's going on in our head, and not being so caught up. And as far as the light worker community, masculine, divine masculines are really starting to wake up and open up their heart center. And this is a really good thing. So don't be afraid to like reach out to the feminine friends that you might have, just for support, because we're really open to it, I guess, right now. Like we're really past the judgmentally kind of energy, and a lot of the divine feminines out there are just really open right now. I know I am, and any of the other divine feminines I know are too. So heart-centered, we have the moon and 7 of Cups. So the moon's probably kind of more obvious. The moon rules our 6th chakra, and just how we feel, how we process our inner vision, our inner world, and how it manifests out. And also how our hormones and our sleep is regulated and all that stuff is all very much intertwined with the moon. So some of us might be not as emotionally activated, might be more vision activated right now, or mentally activated, where those who are more emotionally activated with this moon energy are maybe less visionary inclined. So some for others. And then the 7 of Pentacles is really, I mean, you can see by the card, like she's like, oh, let's go do this crazy thing, you know, like let's go out and have fun. And he's just like, but how are we gonna get there? And I feel like that's really this is a pretty good overall collective energy for both the masculine and the feminine. And we all have both masculine and feminine energy. So your masculine side's, your logic is just going like, okay, we do need to figure out the plan because it seems really impossible to get there. And the divine feminines are like, but the possibility, it's the possibility that counts. Working together to get there is going to be the best. So even within yourself, you've got to be creative and logical. You've got to find the reason and the knowledge. So making that a combination of self, of just like really don't over rationalize and don't over create your reality. Just be aware of both and try and find that meld, that mesh in there that feels right. And if you can get your emotions in check and your thoughts in check, you'll really be able to see better out in front of you. Yeah. Let's do physical. Collective physicality and Gaia as well. Ace of Wands, on fire. Beginnings, new beginnings are on the horizon. And we're seeing a lot of this too, just in the energy of Chiron and Aries as well, in there. So this is just a fire, a fresh start. Some of us might have the chance to really physically heal. I think it's today's post actually that I talk about Mercury and what's going on in the physicality, and stating today, it's a post that I wrote days ago, and it just went live today. And I'll link it down below actually, about Mercury. And Mars is kind of on a spiritual mission, aligning with stars like Arcturus, where Mercury is really just in a physical healing position, with Centaurus, the actual centaur in there. And the centaur is really about, you know, being grounded and physical and part of nature as the horse being, but also very human and more mortal in the higher state. So there's a really good indication in both the astrology and spirit, just being like, it is time. You can, and fire is also more associated with the masculine. So masculine energy is just at a really fresh point right now. And you can remember too that masculine energy is electric, where feminine energy is more magnetic. So this is an indication of a little bit more, you know, yeah. Okay, moving on. And just one last collective, So we've got 5 of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles on the bottom, and the Hermit on the top. So this is going to be for some of you, but not all. The challenge kind of the week with all this energy, and there's a lot going on. You can, there's some crazy small sextile energy between Neptune and the moon and Lilith, Black Moon, over to the Sun and Mercury, and then connecting at the top point to Pluto and Saturn. That's a lot. Okay, it's a harmonious thing, but it's very activating energy. So for some, it might not be very pleasant in this way of just like being a little bit stuck in the self, being a little poor me. What am I to do? Maybe stuck or trapped in addiction or obsession or the same old patterns. And with this kind of energy that's going on, it's really forcing, to have the moon, Lilith, and Neptune all together in the same, between 6 degrees of each other, is like the light part of the moon and the darkest part of the moon and Neptune there to guide this crazy energy. It's crazy energy, and it's happening in Pisces, which is the last of the sign. It's the wateriest energy, so it's the deepest, the darkest, the most mysterious. And these are the most mysterious signs of them all. Moon, Neptune, and these are the most clouded, most veiling energies ever, but they're going to be connecting harmoniously over to Pluto and Saturn, which is like the God finger and the responsibility aspect of ourselves, over to Sun and Mercury, which is all about like the soul, the true self, the healing of the true self, the physical and the spiritual meeting and melding together. All of these are they're just communicating. And so what's really going to be difficult is to juggle this kind of difficult stuff. The spirit and the science it's not, trust me, it's not easy to look and read about spiritual teachings and then spend the next day trying to read up on the science about reality. It's a really difficult thing because sometimes they don't always get along, and sometimes they get along too perfectly. It's like frustrating that the world doesn't get it. And it can be frustrating to balance your spiritual self into the physical reality. And I feel for myself that a lot of the times it's like, how do I bring what I really feel like is going on in my mental space out into my world? Like, why am I so dirty and gross when I'm trying to be so clean in here? And it's just really, it's a frustrating thing. So when we look at this card, what's really important to see is that, that butterfly and the beauty that's out in this world. Like, she's in a beautiful place. She's not alone. She has a little friend. There's life all around her. It's just a state of mind that has her so confined. And it's whatever is, being kept in the box for too long that you just get so stuck on and so stubborn with that you don't even remember what else is in there. And so, or out there. So don't be afraid to like just peek your head up, and she would see this beautiful butterfly. And I'm sure it would do nothing but inspire her. As soon as she lifted her head up and saw that butterfly, that it would inspire her to go forward. Have that motivation. Things happen for a reason. And then the final card that was on the top of the deck was the Hermit. The real answer to going through any of this energy is taking it personally. Going within, you have the answers. You can't really do anything but go inside yourself, mental, heart space, and connect the two. Bring that, then both yin and yang energy together. And there's the symbology here of the circle is just something I'll point out and you don't even need to say anymore. And the Hermit is really all about, going into the dark, carrying the lantern, and doing it for the self. And by doing it for the self, you really affect everybody around you in a very positive way. So I hope that resonated with you guys, and is helpful in some way this week. It is really heavy, serious energy this week. So if you guys are interested in learning more about the astrology stuff, I have an astrology database on Patreon that you can access that has these planets, the signs of our solar system, the 88 constellations, and a whole bunch of the stars in those constellations, and the astrology from Astrology King linked in there, and together with all those other areas. So everything's really all linked together. There's a little bit of energy, like as far as like what chakras and stuff are affected by those different synchronicities. So that's really cool. And I'll also be offering a new reading too, because you can get your astrology reading from me by just going to lovinglifewithlee.com/readings. And I'll interpret your chart. But here soon I will also be able to interpret your stars. Super fun. Super cool. Super interesting. So I have a little bit more to learn, and then I'll be offering those to you guys. And of course, you can always get the self-healing database as well from patreon.com/lovelifewithlee. Thank you for watching, y'all. Hope you're having a good week. Hang in there. Be social. Don't have to hide away. Become a butterfly. Get out of the cocoon. It's kind of the energy that I feel like for this week. So thanks for watching. Have a good one. Namaste.